I was playing around with some different bead rolls there on that, and I made this back piece. So guys, I'm using this number 8 U-Pull acid, the same company that makes the Raptor liner. Alright, belly pans, side belly pans are on. What's up guys? Thanks for coming back to the shop again. Got my donkey. It's about 50 degrees outside right now and in the shop, so I got my beanie on, got my sweatshirt on, trying to stay warm. It's Florida, and for Floridian, 50 degrees is pretty cold. So no heater in the garage here or anything. But today we're gonna be working on some custom patch panels and some parts that just aren't available from the suppliers. And so I gotta custom make them. I still got the bus on the side, got the belly pans and all that done. So guys, keep coming back to the shop here and watching these videos. I really appreciate it. Let's go. All right, I probably should have filmed this earlier in the process here, but I basically need to replace this piece, which is this piece, but down here, because it was all rotted out. So I made a new inner piece that goes in there, which is just flat. And there's no ribs or anything. And so that's gonna get flush welded into there. And then there's this reinforcement piece because the gas tank sits on here. This is the bottom of the gas tank. So for whatever reason, it rotted out there. So I'm gonna try to tip up the edges and recreate these bead rolls and at least get it close. All right, using my mag brake, I'm gonna just tip up these edges 90 degrees. So the one thing I have to do is get over that bend. So I'm gonna stick them in the shrinker and stretcher and try to recreate the little whoop-de-doo bend. So I don't have to go as crazy as this bend is, but somewhere in there. So what I need, I'm just gonna kind of arbitrarily say it's going to be between here and here and here and here and here and here. It's a little bit of an angle. It's not quite 90. Something like that. So we got to stretch and shrink. So I got the stretchers in here now, so that'll be that's one of the things, guys, when you're doing this stuff, is that you kind of need a lot of tools. You can buy the pre-made panels, but the pre-made stuff is only going to get you so far. Because you're gonna have all these rando spots. So either you gotta go get those pieces off of a donor, and a lot of times the donors are just as bad in that spot, that problem spot you got. Alright, that's looking pretty good. just gonna go over that. Doesn't have to be exact either, right? So, and I could, if you didn't have a shrinker or stretcher, you could take little pie cuts out of here with a grinder or, you know, a cutter, cut into that and bend it, and then just weld those up. So there's always more ways to skin a cat. All right, I just spun this around, so now I have the shrinker on here. So now I gotta shrink this part, which is gonna be tough. So I may end up having to make cuts in there. Steel doesn't like to shrink. Like, all right, so you're starting to see it there already. Do this side. All right, see that? Looking pretty good. Alright, so that's gonna bridge that over like that. Again, it doesn't have to match that. We're just trying to end up over here about the same. I think that's good enough to go check. Alright, so we know this one fits in here nice and flush, like that. And then this guy is gonna go over like that. So this actually is rolling down, so it needs to go more than 90, looks like. So I need to go a little more on that, but man, that looks pretty damn good. All right, I'm gonna do a little more shrinking in here to dip that at more of a 180, so this is dipped down a little more, and then we'll run the bead rolls. All right, so I'm using this old piece as my sample, and I'm debating between the 3/8 round die and the 1/2 inch. Pretty sure this is 1/2 inch here. Can you see that? Yeah, right there, 1/2 inch. And the 1/2 inch seems like it fits in there pretty darn good. The 3/8 looks a little small. And when I look at this side, the 1/2 inch is looking like it's the winner. So let's get these on and let's see what we can do. So we want to go up, so yeah. So we want, I got my line on the top, so I got the bead on the bottom, the upper there, because I'm going to be looking at it from this direction. So that's how we'll do it. The bus is like right here, crammed in here. Okay, so I'm gonna end my beads there. I think I'm gonna start here. Oh. Gotta put the screws on. She's running. All right, here we go. I can tell you that this bead looks a little bigger than the factory one. We compare, yeah, it's almost, so probably should have went with the 3/8. But what are you gonna do? I suppose I could switch now, but it's kind of too late. Looks great on the backside. All right, so let's do this side. Other than I should have went with the 3/8 bead. I should have done a test, but that looks pretty freaking sweet. Sometimes I impress myself. All right, let's go see how it looks. All right, so if we compare that to that one, looks awfully close. I'm a little wide, so if I'm gonna critique here, I'm a little bit wide by about a 1/16 or so. I still got to trim it back, obviously, but you know, not too many people are going to notice. All right, so I got to trim it back, get some primer on this thing, and so I'm going to go spray some primer on the backside, and while that's drying, I'll weld in the other piece, and then we'll go from there. I guess I'm going to go ahead and trim this back now. Like that. So I'm going to rough trim this back, and then I have a little bit of play, so. All right, there is the patch clamped in. I got it all ground back there, and that looks pretty good. You know, most people, you'll see, from looking back, you'll see a little difference there, but, you know, and probably should have just taken it all the way and made a whole new piece rather than trying to match it. Because if I would have just made a whole new piece and just welded it over here, then you would never notice that, and I wouldn't have a weld seam there that I got to try to clean up. But anyways, I'm going to put some primer on this and clamp it back on, and I'm going to try to get in there with my big arms on my spot welder and spot this in, at least along in here, and then put some welds back there. So I'm going to drill some holes to weld through there, and then should be good to go. Well, part of it is too, I think those are so long they get kind of misaligned. All right, guys, let's check out what we did yesterday. Let me set this coffee down. Let me flip this camera around. All right, so yesterday, this piece here is the good one, and the one down there was all rotted out. I don't see the piece on the floor anymore, but looks pretty good. I give myself about a B on that. It's a little bit wider than the original one, and I should have just taken the whole piece out and made it a whole new piece, and then you really wouldn't have been able to tell. And it's my beads were a little wide compared to the factory, and it ended up being a little bit wider, but overall, you know, if somebody looked up once it's all painted and everything, I don't think anybody will notice. And then last night I was working on this, mounting this condenser and fan unit for the air conditioning that it's going to have. And one of the issues is, let me go over here, is that it can't stick out past the bottom of the bus. So it's about a 1/2 inch in from the bottom of the edge there, the pinch weld. Because as you know, or maybe you know, this bus is literally going to be sitting on the ground. It's going to be sitting on those pinch welds when it's all the way low, so hopefully this thing won't get damaged. So I made, getting ready to weld this in here onto the pinch weld. And then I made this bracket that's going to get welded in, and then you'll be able to bolt it on and off. And then my plan is to make a new custom belly pan with like louvers to let air flow in and out of there. Alright, so got ended up adding these little wings because it was a little bit flimsy, but it is super stiff now. I used stainless because it's just some scrap that I had. And I got this all welded on there. I did 4 plug welds, and then I did the spot welder. And then I just MIG'd all this. This is all going to get painted, so whatever. And now I'm working on this last rust spot right here. This, yay. That piece had a little bit of rust. So now I can get in there a little bit, and it looks good in there though. So I'll get in there and treat that a little bit, and then make a cap for this. And actually I'm going to make a cap that overlaps. Well, I guess I don't need to do that because the belly pan can just come over that. So we're going to make a cap. We're going to plug these holes. What up? Eric's here. Hi, Eric.
Peace.
Oh yeah. So we're making these little tabs. Where'd they go? This little rib nut on here that we're going to weld on the frame like that, so that the belly pan will be bolt on, so that we'll have access to lines and hoses and that kind of junk. Alright, so I'm working on this front cross piece here. I'm going to put a bunch of holes in it for the air to flow through to the condenser that'll be right here. So, and then we'll probably do some sort of belly pan with some fins or something too, or louvers. So this is my piece, this is my pattern. We're going to be doing 6 holes in here on both sides for the air to flow through. So that'll be folded up like that, basically replicating that cross piece. So you don't have to buy your own those panels, guys. You could just make your own out of some sheet metal. So this is how we do it. Alright, so how these dies work, these are Mittler Brothers punch flare dies, is that you can see this curve there, so it's going to put a flare on it, and it also punches out the center. If you already had the centers punched, you could just do the flare, so you can take the punch part out, which is kind of nice. So if you had a laser cut piece or something already made, you'd already have that hole cut out. So basically you put your panel in there and you put the bolt through to kind of align it, and then we're going to put it in the press. Alright, so we're going to make contact. Really putting a load on it right now. So that's starting to punch through. It's thoroughly punched. And now we're going to start forming. And I hit it pretty good to really make sure it flattens back out. Ba-bam! So this is a pretty tight fit in here, but I wanted to make sure I had a lot of airflow. So, alright, we'll do that on the rest. Alright, so there it is. So I'll make the other one for the other side, and it'll cap over. And then of course I gotta make a cutout for all of these pipes. So that looks pretty cool. I'll definitely let some airflow in there for the old AC. We're in Florida, gotta have AC. Alright, Eric's making good headway here. Got this piece fit in. Because it's bigger up here, I think we're gonna probably use panel bond there. And then because of the body drop, we're having to make this little box to have room for the, it'll be like that, to make room for the taillight. Always something. And then I'm working over here on the, look at that. These pieces for the, to get some airflow through there, which will then flow under and out of the condenser unit for the AC. Oh yeah. Hard to do one-handed. All right, got her all clamped in, ready to weld. I'm going to be spotting through here. And then I think I'm just going to weld along this seam. I was going to use the spot welder, but I think I'm just going to, I got it all clamped in. I'm just going to go with it. So I got all the holes already pre-drilled. Wasn't able to be able to get in here and reach with the spot welder, so I'm just going to plug weld through. Looks good. All right, here is the final piece. If I was to grade myself on this, I'd give it about a B, maybe a B+. I messed up on my alignment when I packed these two together, actually when I was cutting these holes. And the holes are off center just ever so slightly, maybe an 1/8 inch from each other, but airflow will flow through there, no problems. Looks cool as hell. So I'm going to spray some primer inside there and inside the bus and then get it welded on. So I bought this thing at Harbor Freight. Never had one before, and it's pretty sweet. It really does a good job. So this frame had some like waxy coating inside of some of the frame parts, were probably like Z-barred or whatever they do up north. So some parts have it and some don't. So you can see it on here, all this kind of waxy goo. And everywhere that is, there is no rust. So I guess it worked. We got Eric finally crafting up his little light box here. Look at that. I love this mag brake. thank you guys for following along on this project. I really appreciate it. Hopefully we'll build up a little community here with fabricators and builders and people that are interested in some of the same vehicles I am, and follow along each other's projects. So if you have any questions or concerns or something I did, or you're wondering how I did something, leave a comment. And or even sometimes guys email me or message me on Messenger and stuff. So I always try to get back with everybody, and I appreciate you guys watching. Follow along, keep enjoying the journey, and keep coming back. Appreciate it.